Millions of people believed the moon had cities on it. Others thought aliens were attacking Earth. Some even sent money to people who never existed. These weren't jokes. These were some of the biggest lies in history. And the last one proves just how easy it is to fool even the smartest people. This was a time before the internet, before social media. People trusted what they read in newspapers and what they heard on the radio. They trusted scientists and official-sounding sources. And when something was presented as fact, most people didn't question it. That incredible level of trust paved the way for some of the most unbelievable and widespread lies ever told. It shows us that technology changes, but human nature, well, that's a different story. We're going to dive into the most fascinating lies of all time, starting with one that literally aimed for the moon. Imagine it's 1835. You pick up a copy of the New York Sun, one of the most popular newspapers around. The headline is stunning. A famous astronomer, using a powerful new telescope, has made a groundbreaking discovery. The newspaper publishes a series of articles, each one more incredible than the last. They claim scientists have found undeniable proof of life on the moon, but not just simple life. They describe vast forests, strange, bison-like creatures, and even oceans. The articles are incredibly detailed, filled with scientific-sounding language that makes them seem completely legitimate. Then comes the biggest reveal of all: winged, human-like beings flying gracefully through the lunar air. People absolutely lost their minds. The story was a sensation. The newspaper circulation skyrocketed, making it the best-selling paper in the world for a time. Other newspapers, not wanting to be left behind, reprinted the articles. The story spread like wildfire, and millions of people genuinely believed it. They talked about it on the streets, debated the implications in their homes. For a few weeks, the world was captivated by the idea of a bustling civilization on the moon. Of course, none of it was real. The entire series was a complete fabrication, a brilliant piece of fiction written by a reporter to sell more papers. The astronomer mentioned? He wasn't even aware his name was being used until later. The newspaper eventually admitted it was a hoax, but by then, it didn't matter. The Great Moon Hoax, as it came to be known, had already proven its point. A well-told lie, presented with authority, could fool almost anyone. And it worked beautifully. Now, fast forward a few decades to 1938. It's a Sunday evening, and families across America are gathered around their radios. Many are listening to a popular music program. Suddenly, the music stops. An announcer breaks in with an urgent news bulletin. A calm, authoritative voice reports that strange explosions have been observed on the surface of Mars. Then, another bulletin. A meteor has crashed in a field in New Jersey. But it's not a meteor. Reporters on the scene describe a large metal cylinder. A hatch opens, and terrifying creatures emerge, armed with a devastating heat ray. The voice on the radio, filled with growing panic, announces that aliens are invading Earth. The radio show was, in fact, a fictional drama. It was Orson Welles' adaptation of the novel The War of the Worlds. At the beginning of the broadcast, an announcer clearly stated that the program was a work of fiction, but many listeners tuned in late. They missed the crucial introduction. All they heard was what sounded like a real live news report of the end of the world. And they panicked. People flooded police stations and newspaper offices with frantic calls. Many packed their bags and fled their homes, trying to escape the alien invaders. Some truly believed humanity's final moments had arrived, all because a radio show sounded too real, too official to be a story. The realism of the broadcast blurred the line between entertainment and reality, creating a nationwide panic that is still studied today. Let's go back a little to the early 1900s. Imagine you're struggling to make ends meet, and a letter arrives in the mail. It's from a man named Charles Ponzi, and he has an incredible offer. He promises a massive return on your investment in just a few months, 50% profit in 45 days. 100% in 90. It sounds too good to be true, but the letters are persuasive. He explains a complex system involving international postal coupons, making it seem legitimate, if a little confusing. People start talking. Your neighbors are investing. They're getting paid, showing off their cash. The temptation is overwhelming. So thousands of people, from factory workers to wealthy investors, sent their life savings to Ponzi. For a while, it worked. Early investors received their promised returns, which only fueled the frenzy. But the man behind the deal was a master of deceit. There was no real investment. The business was a sham. He was simply using the money from new investors to pay off the earlier ones. It was one of the first and most famous pyramid schemes in history. Eventually, the whole thing collapsed. The man, Charles Ponzi, became so infamous that his last name is now synonymous with this type of fraud. Millions of dollars vanished, and countless lives were ruined. The lie wasn't about aliens or the moon. It was a cold, calculated promise of easy money, preying on people's hopes and dreams. But perhaps the most shocking lie is one that fooled the world's greatest scientific minds for decades. In 1912, a group of prominent scientists in Britain made a monumental announcement. At a Geological Society meeting, they unveiled what they claimed was the fossilized skull of an early human ancestor. They called it the Piltdown Man. This wasn't just any fossil. It was the missing link between apes and humans that scientists had been searching for. The discovery was hailed as a triumph of British science. It made headlines around the world. For over 40 years, the Piltdown Man was accepted as fact. It was taught in schools. Replicas were displayed in museums, including the prestigious Natural History Museum in London. It was featured in textbooks as a crucial piece of the human evolutionary puzzle. Generations of students learned about it. Top scientists wrote papers about it, staking their reputations on its authenticity. But a few experts always had their doubts. The jawbone looked a bit too much like an ape's, and the teeth showed strange patterns of wear. Then, in the early 1950s, new chemical dating technology became available. Scientists finally put the Piltdown fossils to the test. The results were explosive. The skull was not an ancient fossil. It was a modern human skull, deliberately stained to look old. The jawbone came from an orangutan, and the teeth had been manually filed down by hand to make them look more human-like. It was an elaborate and malicious hoax. The Piltdown Man, the celebrated missing link, was a complete fake. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It proved that even the most brilliant experts, the people we trust to tell us the truth, could be fooled by a clever lie. So what's the pattern here? We have different times, different stories, from the 1830s to the 1950s. A fake moon civilization, a staged alien invasion, a non-existent investment, a fraudulent human ancestor. In every case, the lie succeeded for the same fundamental reasons. People want to believe, especially when a story is exciting or comforting. They are more likely to accept a lie when someone they see as an expert says it as true, whether that's a newspaper, a scientist, or just a confident-sounding voice on the radio. And there's social proof. When it seems like everyone else believes it, questioning the story becomes much harder. It's easier to go along with the crowd than to be the lone voice of doubt. Here's the scary part. These kinds of lies didn't stop in the 1950s. They just got an upgrade. Today, they don't need a newspaper or a radio station. They have the internet. They can spread faster, reach more people, and look even more convincing than ever before. If millions of people could be convinced of cities on the moon and invading aliens with nothing but print and radio, what do you think people today believe that will look completely ridiculous 100 years from now? And be honest with yourself. Do you think you'd be the one to see the lie? Or would you fall for it too? Drop your answer in the comments below. Thanks for watching.